PostBank has given assurances that there will be no disruptions to the payments of social grants. This announcement comes on the back of a Pretoria High Court ruling last month, which struck off an urgent application by the bank to interdict the termination of the master service agreement. PostBank took the South African Social Security Agency to court over the agreement. In a statement, PostBank says its agreement with SASSA remains firmly in place until an interministerial committee has deliberated on the matter. And to that chat, as promised, the Financial Sector Conduct Authority revealing that more than 15,000 employers have failed to pay their employees' pension contributions. Pension funds are now owed a total of 7.3 billion rand. The number of affected workers has nearly doubled since December of 2023. To break down what it means for workers and explain the next steps, let's welcome Takalani Lukhaimane, who's the manager of retirement funds at the conduct supervision at the FSCA. Good morning to you, Takalani, and welcome to the program. Thank you so much for your time. So your latest report, and I've shared the numbers there in our introduction, 15,000 employees in arrears. I think the estimation is 600,000, more than 500,000 of the workforce affected. Let's talk about, as a starter, why the number seems to have doubled since late 2023, not too long ago, and what is the reason behind the surge in non-compliance?
Thank you, Iman. Thank you for having us on the show to discuss this very, very important topic in retirement funds. You would know that if you are not contributing to your retirement fund, your savings are obviously diminished. So the number has gone up because of improved compliance, in actual fact, that we've got more funds reporting than what we had in the beginning. So in the beginning, it's a number that you, or the date that you referenced. In 2023, we only had 23 funds reporting, and we've now got 67 funds that are reporting. So obviously, with more funds that are reporting and the non-compliance, we've now gotten more in terms of employers that are being reported by those retirement funds. So it's been a journey. When we started in terms of cleaning the data and having employers report or the funds report the non-compliances, we are getting better at employers reporting, and so the numbers are reflecting that.
Okay, but it still doesn't make the picture any better, right? The fact is,
it does not.
As you said, savings are going to be diminished. So let's bring the story and the impact back to the ordinary staffer in any company any of these companies that are affected. What does it actually mean? Are their pensions at risk, and if so, by how much?
We felt it the most when we implemented the two-pot system. You would have seen during that time from last year, from 1 September, when we implemented the two-pot system, a lot of members were in shock that they couldn't actually access some of their funds because their employers had been behind with their contributions. I mean, that is just one of the examples in terms of you not being able to access what you have been saving and what has been deducted from your wages or your salaries. The other impact of it, obviously, is that if you have any benefits that are attached to those contributions, so for instance, if you've got a death benefit or you've got a disability benefit that is attached to that contribution coming from your employer, if those contributions do not come into the fund, then you are not going to be able to, and your beneficiaries will also not get any additional benefits that would have been paid for through those premiums. So those are just some of the practical ways. But as I said, the main impact is that your retirement savings are diminished, and the other benefits that you would have had in the fund to yourself or to your beneficiaries would also be impacted severely.
I mean, I'm almost saying Tiko and just like leaning back in my chair, because those are three big things. Because you're assuming, because you would see, right, Takalani, that those payments are coming off your payslip. They're just not getting to where they're supposed to go. So you're assuming you have the death cover, you have the disability cover, and that your pension is growing. In the event, and maybe you have some examples of where this might have happened, in the event where something bad happens and somebody needs to then get that death benefit or that disability benefit discovering at that point that actually it didn't go through if it was meant to be a contribution taken out of their pension fund contribution. Who is liable?
The employer is liable for that payment coming into the fund. So what we've seen is, as and when the fund recovers, and if they're able to recover those contributions coming in, they would also then, in certain instances, make arrangements with the employer to say, if you had paid these contributions on time, this is the benefit that would have been paid from the insurer. So you have to now settle it. And in some instances, employers do pay it, but unfortunately, in the majority of cases, members and beneficiaries then go without that money if they're not successful. Because you can imagine, if an employer does not cooperate at that time, you might have to institute legal action. And in South Africa, that is not the easiest thing to do for an ordinary South African to access the courts in terms of funds and costs that are associated with that. So it becomes a very strenuous journey. You could lodge a complaint with the Pension Fund Adjudicator's Office, and they would issue a determination that also has the effect of a court judgment. So you could then go in and have that effected. But that, again, relies on the justice system and not necessarily directly within the ambit of the financial sector.
Takalani, this is so unfair, and it's so unfair on so many different levels, because the contributor, the employee and their family would not know that this is happening. As you say, in some cases, I mean, and we'll get to the reasons that you found why employers haven't been paying that money to the fund itself. But do the employers not have a moral and a legal obligation to at least inform their employees that their payments aren't being paid through, or there would be a moratorium for a certain amount, so that, you know, that I would know that in this context, even though I want to hold on to my job because I still need the salary, that I can maybe make another plan to pay that pension contribution, just so that if I die or if I'm disabled or something else happens, my family is still going to be covered?
You've raised two very important issues, Iman. One being that as an employee, I have a right to know that my contributions are not being made to the fund. That responsibility in terms of informing me lies with the Board of Trustees. And that is actually legislated. So there is a legal requirement for the pension fund trustees to inform a member that their contributions are not being made by the employer into the fund. The other issue that you raised, which is actually quite important, is employers have the opportunity, if it is that they are in financial difficulty, they have the opportunity to discuss this with the retirement fund and also inform their members to make alternative arrangements to say, during this period where we are in financial difficulty, I might not be able to make these contributions. Is there an opportunity for us to reduce contributions or to suspend contributions for a period of time until we are in a better financial position? What we're finding is that a lot of employers are not using that legal provision where they are able to make contributions either reduced or suspended for a period of time, so that they can get back on their feet and also be able to make the contributions. But informing the members, as you stated, informing the members is a legal requirement, and that legal duty actually lies with the Board of Trustees to inform members. So when we do our supervisory work, we actually check whether members are being informed by the retirement funds that their contributions are outstanding through various methods, whether it's SMS or letters, anything like that. But we do check that members are being informed.
Okay, I've got the opportunity to ask you maybe two short questions, so and they're important, so let's see if we can get through them very quickly. People out there should not be leaving this to chance. As you say, 500,000, more than 500,000 people affected. If I want to find out what the status of my contributions are, and whether the money is going where it needs to go so that I have all of the provision and protection that I'm supposed to get, how can I check, Takalani?
You need to contact your retirement fund. You need to contact your administrator of your retirement fund. and check with them whether contributions are being made in on time. You can also check with your HR department, but the retirement fund is a separate legal entity, so please check with your retirement fund and your administrator. I really truly feel that unfortunately people treat retirement funds as in a passive manner and don't engage with it as you actively would. Say your bank account, for instance, or any other accounts that you have. And it's such an important savings that you are accumulating that you should be engaging with it on a monthly basis. Administrators are employed by the funds to communicate with you. You are paying for that service, so use it. Some retirement funds have got websites. Make sure that you can access and see whether your contributions are being made to your retirement fund.
Because presumably, if you're not getting a quarterly statement or an update on how much money you've accrued, you should be thinking, hang on a second, why am I not hearing from whichever the fund is to tell me how much money I've earned by now? Again, thank you so much for just lighting a fire under our feet in that regard. Let's go back to consequences. What are you doing to prevent this from happening again? And how do we hold those employers who are guilty of doing this? As you've already said, on several bases, they are guilty of committing an illegal act. So can they be prosecuted? And what opportunities are there for families already affected to get some of their money back?
Oh, yes, they can be prosecuted. We've seen, encouragingly, an increased number of cases that have been opened with the South African Police Service. We have engaged with the National Prosecuting Authority and also the department or the division within the Hawks in terms of our subs, the Hawks being able to prosecute and investigate some of these cases as well. We are also referring the employers to SARS to see whether there are possible income tax contraventions that can be prosecuted. And in different sectors, because you can't treat all of them the same. In different sectors, in your bargaining council spaces, we're engaging with the bargaining councils because they've also got methods in terms of deploying inspectors to these employers to see whether they're making contributions. In your municipal fund space, we have engaged with National Treasury, and we've seen good results there where the National Treasury has withheld the monies that are given to municipalities on a quarterly basis, and most municipalities have come forward and made payments or have made payment arrangements. But we are restricted in terms of legislation at the moment because we don't have jurisdiction directly over employers. So we are waiting for an amendment and a new bill, the Conduct of Financial Institutions bill, that will allow us to have direct jurisdiction over employers. And there we will be able to say we are penalizing employers or, we are directly responsible and can open cases. Right now, our supervision lies with the retirement funds. So our duty is to ensure that retirement funds are doing their job by opening cases and going after these employers.
Well, let's hope you get that teeth, Takalani, because you certainly need it. As you say, 1.5 billion rand in arrears, those municipalities, but you've already taken steps to recover. So the message out there is whether you're in private employers, whether you're a private employee or a public servant, public employee, go and check your pension fund. Do it today. After this interview, as soon as the office closes, phone your fund and find out if your money is safe and whether your contributions have actually made it all the way to the fund. Takalani, you couldn't have made it any clearer for us. Thank you for breaking it down. We appreciate your time. Takalani Lukhaimane is the manager of retirement funds conduct supervision at the FSCA. Break and then sport, because Valen is standing by.